Sunk cost fallacy has to do with thinking that one cannot abandon something that they're heavily invested in because they feel like they have spent so much time doing it. And this is the thing. I want to say that I don't believe anything in art could really be considered a sunk cost. Um, and hear me out. I think a lot of the methods in art that you learn as you go tend to help one another a lot. Personally, I really want to get into painting, but I only have done drawing. Portion of that is because of certain limitations I have um, with room. I don't have area to make any type of studio area, and another part of it has to do with well, I guess you could say for the longest time I feel like I always had to be drawing, and it wasn't worth it for me to do anything else besides drawing. But that's not really true, because when I really drilled into it, there's drawing, and there are all of these other methods that go under it. There's gesture drawing, there's contour drawing, there's structural drawing, and I know this is going to sound weird. I do not recommend you trace and claim it as your own work, but it can be beneficial for learning how someone draws certain lines. So please put on record that I don't never try to trace something and claim it off as your own, but I think it can be incredibly useful for learning something. And the thing is, with all of these skills, all of these different things, they take years to master. No one wants to hear that. But at the same point, you're probably going to pick one, and you're probably going to want to focus on it for quite a long time. And one of the things that comes about from focusing on something for a long time is, well, you become heavily invested in it. And you think, well, I've spent all this time doing gesture drawing, so to say, I speak from experience, and I really lacked doing any type of contour drawing. And I guess you can say that I don't think any of it is sunk costs. I think all of it is for the whole. I feel like each one kind of helps every other skill. And I don't mean to say just trace drawing helps structural, but I'm just trying to maybe make it more of in a circle, so to say. And basically all of these skills help you in different areas, no matter what that may be. And I'm just talking about drawing here. The thing is, every medium or art medium, has its every art medium has its quirks. There are always different things you kind of have to apply, but a lot of the basics are the same. And I get not the same. I mean, everything has unique dimensionality to it. But I guess you could say when I think of drawing, and let's compare it to painting. I guess if you say you want to paint like you're drawing, or you want to I'm sorry, did I say let's say you want to draw like you are painting. And let's also say you want to paint like you are drawing. Two very different approaches to it. And the big problem you run into here is that you're kind of hitting a sunk cost fallacy, in which in the first sentence you want to focus on nothing but drawing. You prioritize drawing on the hierarchy to be the highest. And in the second assumption I made here, you put painting on the highest pedestal. And the problem when you do that is that because every medium has its quirks, you'll be throwing away the quirks of the medium. So, oops. Don't throw away the quirks of the medium. So, I don't mean to say this is the baddest. I don't want you to beat yourself up because of that. But if you don't like painting, and even if you've tried it, which I guess I would recommend everyone to try it, because I think many things in art should be tried at least once. And if you really don't like it, you don't have to do it. But I think if you really just want to draw, you should be drawing. And if you just want to paint, you should really be painting. But I think sometimes it can be good for one to go on a tangent and try to learn about a different medium, because I think when it comes to drawing and painting, they could both complement each other. I think painting can complement drawing, and drawing can complement painting. And because it can be complementary, there are certain things that you can learn from one medium that you could then take it, and you can't apply it directly, but you can't apply it one to one, but you but you can apply it through the things that you have learned. So you can take some of the core aspects of the experience that you've gained from one medium, and you could transfer it into another medium. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it's like you have a bit of learning to come by. I guess you could say I kind of realized this. Something I've been putting off for a long time in my personal journey has been shading. Oops, I cannot spell shading. And the thing is, I eventually one day, I want to paint. But the thing is, I always thought of shading, granted it is unique, it always has to do with various shades of light and shade. And the thing is, with painting, I feel like you can limit yourself, but I found that, with painting, I feel like you could say even drawing and learning shading is a little bit of a prerequisite, so to say. Because I feel like when you go into painting, you have such an unlimited, like, you add so many extra quirks to be able to learn. Like, when it comes to painting, you may, depending on how you want to go, you may have to mix paints. You have to deal with applying paints, brush, strokes. And I think each one can help one another. To be honest, to a large extent, granted I never have painted, I've noticed that when it comes to painting, it seems like, everyone, it's like about people's unique way they paint, but also about like their unique brush strokes. And then it kind of like makes me think so much about gesture drawing, in which I feel like to execute brush strokes, because people are known for their various brush strokes. I mean, as well as like mixing paint and maybe working with certain colors of paint, whether you're taking pigment and doing all that other stuff with it. But I'm saying, I think you can't use it exactly one to one, but you can learn methods from your past experience. Like, I always wonder when I start doing painting, will I be able to apply gesture drawing? I've also realized that to a large extent, many people who, before they paint something, they may do a thing called an underdrawing. And like, an underdrawing, like, could take aspects of all of this. I mean, you may not be applying every single thing, but you could be applying many things. And I think it's all important. I mean, depending how you want to go. It seems like there are many people who may want to paint more in an abstracted light, and I definitely want to do that as well. I guess another thing I didn't mention was abstract drawing. This is kind of a weird thing in which I never have heard people talk about it, but I guess you could say people drawing what they feel instead of exactly what they see. It may involve some of what they see, but it may be some of what they feel. And when it comes to that, I always think of landscape paintings. Granted, there are some people who decide to take it to a different level, and there are others who decide to take it from a glance. I think both versions have their merits, but I'm thinking like, to a certain extent, you kind of have to, like, a tree in the distance. Do you paint like how do I put it? If you wanted to do that, you probably wouldn't want to try to paint every single individual leaf, but you're painting a certain abstraction of the tree as a whole, or probably certain parts of the leaf, but you're not going in every single separate leaf. I mean, you're not like spending all the time to do a whole full underdrawing rendering of every leaf on the tree. So it's a bit more abstract. I mean, it's not 100% abstract. It's just a little bit at a glance, you could say. So maybe I should have said at a glance drawing. So if you really think of it, all of this stuff just borrows from one another. All of these things tend to go back. You borrow certain aspects that can be applied. And I guess it's also important to understand that like nothing is like a sunk cost. All of these things will help you in one way or another. And I'm pretty sure even if you decide not to use certain things, I don't think there's harm in that, because eventually you may one day either relearn it or you may remember it and think, oh, you know what? Okay, I was able to apply a little bit of it after all. So yeah, I think I don't think there's a sunk cost. Perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe like if there were certain people who, and I don't mean to say some, this is probably still not a sunk cost. Like people who make metal sculptures and then they say, one day I want to do landscape paintings instead. I'm pretty sure there are some quirks of making sculptures or of like metal in some way that somehow can help make who you are if you really want to be a landscape painter instead. So I see all of these things that can be borrowed, and yeah, it can't be applied one to one because every medium has their quirks, and you are going to have to learn new things, but you're doing it in your own unique way, and I don't believe it is a sunk cost. So yeah, I hope this video kind of helps you. I've been thinking about this because as I go, when I start using other drawing methods, personally, I feel like, am I doing this right? I kind of think like maybe I should be doing more gesture drawing today, or maybe I should be doing more contour drawing, or I haven't done a structural drawing for a while. And I always try to implement various things in my daily warm-up routine. But there's just, eventually you do understand that there's so much to do, you can't do it all in one day. But I guess you can know that you could always relearn it, or it's in your brain somewhere once you do learn it. And it's all a matter of trying to reactivate it again to get it back there. But yeah, I probably have talked for way too long. If you like the video, please like it. If you like my channel, please subscribe. And if you have a question, please ask in the comments. Thank you very much for listening. I do appreciate it. Bye.